Hello, welcome to another hungover edition of Culture Hash Reviews. Today we're going to talk about Quavo Huncho, released by Quavo, leader and 1/3 of the rap group the Migos. Migos are a Atlanta trio that have had a lot of success recently in the hip hop scene, and Quavo is the most prominent member of this group. In the last couple of years, Quavo and other members of the Migos have crossed over into the mainstream charts. 2017 was a strong year for Quavo. Quavo appeared on 3 tracks which peaked in the top 10 of the UK singles chart. He appeared on I'm the One with DJ Khaled, Justin Bieber, Chance the Rapper and Lil Wayne. Quavo had a nice feature on Liam Payne's Strip That Down, and the whole Migos trio appeared on Calvin Harris's Slide, a track which also featured Frank Ocean. The Migos were smashing it in 2017, and it would have made sense for Quavo to release his debut album in this year. At this point in 2018, Quavo is a lot less prominent in the charts, and his features this year have lacked the commercial viability that we saw in 2017. Earlier this year, DJ Khaled's No Brainer peaked at number 3 in the UK singles chart, and No Brainer is the only track featuring Quavo to peak in the UK singles chart this year. To build hype for Quavo Huncho, Quavo released 3 tracks a couple of weeks ago. Each of these tracks appear on Quavo Huncho. Each of these are mediocre, but they're notable for being the first prominent Quavo solo tracks to come out. These tracks were Workin' Me, Lamb Talk, and Bubblegum. Workin' Me was the only of this trifecta to appear in the US charts and peaked at number 52. Quavo has obviously lost some of his appeal from 2017, and it suggests he might struggle to chart with Quavo Huncho. You could even argue that Offset is the biggest member of the Migos at the moment. He's still doing well in the charts with the track Taste, which features Tyga and that really infectious beat. Ric Flair Drip is still really big on the internet. You always hear it in memes. And it's even fair to say that Offset is out-rapping Quavo at this moment in time as well. There seems to be a lack of interest and enthusiasm for Quavo's solo ventures. And with this background established, we move in to looking at Quavo Huncho as an album. This album is generic trap. The Migos have a very distinct rap style. It's all full of ad-libs and they've got great unity between them. It always feels like they all are in the booth with each other while the other one's recording verses, laying down ad-libs, egging each other on. And this style works when the collective are together. Quavo doesn't really try to evolve this formula and tries to carry a number of tracks on his own without deviating from this group-focused Migos style that we all know from the group. Also, Quavo doesn't seem to have anything to say. Most trap music is very materialistic and braggadocious by nature, but even within this, Quavo seems to make his boasts as boring as possible. All these songs are about jewellery, women, cars, buying stuff, sex, being a great rapper. These are the lyrics on Quavo Huncho, and for a 19-track album, it gets very thin very quickly because Quavo's delivery on this album is just bland. The raps are just unimaginative boasts that don't really capture any attention. The best thing about Quavo Huncho are the guest features, and the guests consistently out-rap Quavo and add a lot more interest to the project than Quavo does himself. Carrying a 19-track rap album is difficult enough, but when you've got a rapper who's got nothing really interesting to say, it gets very bland and generic. And it's surprising how boring this album is because Quavo is one of the most interesting members of the Migos. He consistently stood out throughout their early career. Standout tracks on Quavo Huncho include Rerun, featuring Travis Scott. Somehow this track is much better than the joint album Quavo and Travis Scott released last year. That album was just bland, there was no chemistry, but the two rappers worked quite nicely together on Rerun. This track's got a great vibe. I really like the energy Travis Scott brings to the projects. Similar to Lose It featuring Lil Baby, Lil Baby is fast becoming one of my favourite of the up and coming young rappers at the moment, and he has another great verse on here. Oftentimes, listening to Quavo Huncho, my interest begins to dip, and then when you hear someone like Lil Baby come in with some great energy, it reinvigorates the interest and picks my ears up. Lil Baby carries Lose It and makes it one of the better songs on this album. Champagne Rose features Madonna and Cardi B. A strange combination. It's weird to see Madonna featured on a rap album, but she has some like interesting vocals in the chorus. There's so many effects on Madonna's voice, and she adds somewhat to the track, but Cardi B really does steal the show with quite a short verse. But this track isn't as good as its features suggest, and Champagne Rose is quite forgettable overall. Having said that, Quavo does have some interesting solo cuts. I love the track Shine. This has got a great beat by Tay Keith, another big person to come through in the rap scene this year. I love the synths that open Shine, and Tay Keith drops the drums in at quite an unusual moment in the track's progression, but really builds on how the vibe is going at this point. Shine is a good song, but mainly carried by the production here. I love the way Quavo's verse comes in. He has a really strong opening here. Quavo's cadence is used to fit around the drums, and it's a really good use of the instrumental here to really boost his verse. Huncho Dreams is an interesting track. This seems to be a response to Nicki Minaj's Barbie Dreams from earlier this year, a track where she calls out all the rappers who want to fuck her. And Quavo basically uses Huncho Dreams to talk about having sex with Nicki Minaj from the perspective that he used to bang her, and he just goes into really like graphic detail about how he used to fuck her. Nicki Minaj released this song earlier this year and was just having a little joke about everyone, and then Quavo just comes back with a response that goes into too much detail about their alleged sex life, and it just seems really immature from Quavo. Like, come on man, it's just a joke. No one actually thinks you're begging Nicki Minaj to have sex with you. But then his response to this is just to list all this like dirty information about him and Nicki Minaj's relationship, and it's just pointless. It seems really immature. It's not a good look from Quavo as a person to really make a song like this. Go All The Way is interesting due to its house influence. It's rare to hear Quavo rap over a house beat like this, but he does really well here. This song's got great energy. I really like the vibe. It's nice to get a bit of variety really. But the strongest moments on Quavo's solo album are the two tracks he does with his Migos compadres. Keep That Shit featuring Takeoff is quite nice. Takeoff's got a great verse, and Takeoff has certainly improved. He doesn't get the limelight that the other members of the group do, but he is doing well and developing his sound quite nicely. Fuck 12 featuring Offset is the first Migos song to really try and go in the woke category. This song talks about police brutality. The track opens with a snippet of a Malcolm X speech, and straight away Quavo comes in and starts boasting about fabrics. So, I mean, they do try, Migos. And while the song sticks to the topic mostly, I don't really feel like the Migos can create a cohesive song about politics without straying into their usual talk of boasting and designer clothes and stuff like that. But it's pretty good. Fuck 12 is pretty decent. It's definitely not going to be the fuck the police of this generation, but it's a good song. Overall, Quavo Huncho it's not that good really. The best moments on this album come when Quavo is helped by his guests. The guests just run this album, and if you listen to the songs with all the guest features on, those are the best songs, because Quavo just can't carry an album of this length. He doesn't have anything interesting to say, and his boring raps are just delivered in the most bland, generic way. Cliches galore, boasting about things that no one really cares about. And I can't, even though there are good songs on here, I can't really give it a good score because Quavo himself doesn't improve the album. The album's improved with the lack of Quavo. Therefore, it's only fair that I give Quavo Huncho 4 out of 10.